to Bill Flynn in the morning.
Good morning, 9:08. 8 minutes after 9. It is the Love Your Lawn Hour, and agronomist Tommy Cowett will join us right now from
Good morning.
GrowinGreen. Good morning, Tommy. You know, just yesterday, I was having a conversation, and somebody was talking about really looking forward to hearing you on the radio today.
Wow.
And being able to, get some good insight. And I thought that was a great touch. And we've been talking now, we're going into a window of time.
Yes.
That we need to start seriously looking at and even scheduling what we need to be doing for our lawns, right?
This is the best time to plan and get a great lawn because in about a month, we'll start seeding. We have the best seed in the world.
Already, it's here, about a month.
We've already ordered our Barenbrug Water Saver blend, which is bar none the best seed you can get in the world. Cleanest, weed-free seed that you could possibly get in the world. Bar none. And it's Barenbrug, and all their varieties usually start with bar, like Barabusta and Bar Lexus and all these great ones. Barrington, you name it. There used to be Phoenix and Vegas. These were the top of the NTEP National Turf Evaluation Program varieties.
Thank you for spelling that out for us.
Yes,
okay.
NTEP, and that's nationwide. Usually all of the agricultural schools, universities, cow colleges, you can call them, like NC State, Clemson, Virginia Tech, you name it. Goes on, they have the NTEP trial where the varieties are tested. And they look at just about every variable you can imagine. And, from quality, color, disease resistance, drought resistance, all these things are studied and they're rated. And Barenbrug seed is the top of the line. Not only that, Barenbrug, the largest solely owned seed company in the world, they have a large facility out in Oregon where they can clean seed. And a lot of other companies, I would ask if I ever bought a bag of Pennington seed or something like that, I would want it run through this facility first.
And when you say clean seed, what do you mean? What
Get the weed seed out of it. Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about that because you've mentioned if you do the math,
right,
and you're putting out X number of pounds of seed.
Sure.
And you even have just a relatively small percentage of that as weeds. The number of weeds you are planting is astonishing if you don't do that.
Rigsby talks about this all the time. Turf Commander. He's got a formula. Well, here he'll show you that in 1 pound of seed, if it has 0.003% weed seed in it.
Which sounds pretty impressive.
You can have millions, literally millions of weed seeds in that bag. Millions. So you just put weed seed all over your lawn. So
even at that low concentration,
yes,
and that weed that you're putting there probably has more staying power than the grass that's right beside it.
A lot of times it does. Yeah. And it's very important to have 100% weed-free seed, and that's what we start with. We don't goof around. The seed is specially ordered from Barenbrug. We've been using it for years now, and we don't have weeds coming in from our seed.
If you can stop it from ever beginning, you don't have to do the pre-emergence. You don't have to go out there back-breaking work, yanking them up or killing them with, which, by the way, is on my schedule today. My honey-do list, I got a few weeds that have grown up in cracks in the driveway and stuff like that.
Great. You're going to go out and spray them?
But that's my job today. Yeah, probably spray more than pull. I might pull a few, but.
I always pull every day. I come home and I look around and I pull. It's a therapeutic thing to do.
Far?
Not in the lawn. My lawn has no weeds, but the common areas.
But how far ahead of the game you are if you're not putting weed seed out after already investing hours and money and time?
Oh my God! I have seen lawns get trashed with this one particular grass called rough stalk bluegrass. And it kind of looks like fescue. It comes up. It's a cool season grass. But then give it a little time, a little late spring when the lawns are looking their best. This stuff is like a yellowish color. And you look at it, and it's evident that this is not tall fescue. What is this? It lays flat. And I have seen some of the most beautiful lawns get trashed with rough stock.
Well, I'm
and
sure
there's nothing you can do.
It's easy to do. You go to the box store, you need some seed, you got some areas you want to take care of. You think you're doing yourself a quick favor. You know how to do this, and then you put the seeds of death into your lawn, really.
Oh, it's destruction. It ruins the lawn. It's rough stalk bluegrass is a perennial grass. A lot of times it's considered an other crop. So on the seed bag tag, you're going to see this other crop, 0.00 what percent. That could be rough stalk bluegrass, which is they're just calling it other crop. You don't want other crop. You don't want noxious weed seed, and you certainly don't want any weed seed.
But all that ultimately is spelled out on every bag that you're looking at. It should be.
It should be. When you go to buy seed, it's best to buy the blue tag certified seed, and that'll be certified by the state of Oregon, where most of this seed comes from. And that tells you that what's in that bag on that tag is in that bag. That's the guarantee. That's what that is. So we buy the blue tag certified.
And is this USDA part of that, or is there? I mean, if there's a problem with labeling, there's I'm sure fines to be given out to a company that would mislabel and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, there should be. There should be. Obviously, I mean, there should be repercussions if you're selling trash, but most of the time they don't.
And you may not know until after the fact.
Oh, you don't know until
months later.
Months and months later. You get seeded in the fall. You might not see this stuff. I mean, if you got Poania, that stuff's germinating in September. You don't even see the white seed heads from the Poania, which is called annual bluegrass, till spring. And then it's too late. And that's a terrible weed to have in your lawn.
Say it again.
It's called Poania. Poana. Annual bluegrass.
Something to be avoided.
Yes, it's an annual grass. It's a pretty grass. I mean, there's actually golf course greens that are 100% Poania. The risk that those golf course superintendents take when they have a Poania green is they might not realize it's supposed to be. It looks so much like bent grass. It's hard to tell the two apart. And if you don't know how much you have and you start getting into the summer heat and you're not prepared, you could lose that whole green because it just can't handle the heat. Mm-hmm. So you should have been doing something like seeding bent grass into that green back earlier, to get it up to make it through this summer heat. Because Poania, you could lose it real quick.
I'm intrigued when you talked about the varieties of grass in the first part of this conversation. You've got to match that seed to the environment, of course, that you're putting it in, and the temperature and the climate. And we're going to talk about that, how you select the right seed for this part of the country, for the do-it-yourselfer, and really for you guys at GrowinGreen. We're going to tap your brain. We'll get to that and much more on the way. And if you have a question about anything to do with your lawn and landscaping, call us now. We'll get you in touch right now with GrowinGreen, 896-1980.
Now, the number is 896-1980, AM 980 The Eagle.
I'm thinking about that homeowner that's invested a fair number of time, maybe several seasons, of playing by the rules, doing everything right, seeding the right time of year, doing some pre-emergence on their own, maybe, wanting to make sure you get plenty of water and putting the seed down at the right time and aerating your lawn, all of that. But the downside is if you get the wrong bag of seed, you've done all of that, and you're really telling that weed element in the seed that you're applying, we love you, weeds. We're doing everything we can to make your home happy, healthy, and safe, and you're going to end up with a crop of weeds if you're not really, really careful with the seed that you're putting out. And for a lot of us, we go down the box store and throw it in the back of the SUV and throw it out by hand or get with a spreader or whatever. And this is a time to really, really think about that process. And just a word to the wise homeowners, what would you say to this scenario, Tommy?
Read the bag, read the tag on the bag, and get to know that. I mean, that's going to give you your percent germination. And you want above 80% germination. I mean, literally, you'd like to be in the 90s, but you'll see a lot of bags with 80%.
Germination means the fact that is actually going to grow and turn into a plant of grass.
Right. They'll have PLS, which is pure live seed, on that tag. And that's the actual amount. So you kind of like need to calibrate yourself. Say you want to put out 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and you only have 80% germination on that. So you're going to want to make, adjustments for that 20% that you're not going to get. Pure live seed is really what we work off of. How much actual pure live seed is in the bag. And that way when we put out, we do our calculations and calibrations, we'll be doing that here coming up. Gearing up for seeding season because it's coming at the end of next month. No one is allowed to take time off after September 1st.
It's crazy time.
To November.
Crazy time.
No day offs for anybody. We'll be working, aerating, seeding, slit seeding, aerating, creating the perfect seed bed for this beautiful 100% weed-free seed that we put down from Barronbrook.
That's a beautiful thought. Now, by the way, this is Growing Green, the Love Your Lawn Hour. Tommy Cowett, registered agronomist and one of the managers at Growing Green, which handles an awful lot of lawns in this area, including you do a significant amount of professional management for fields and
athletic fields. That has gone really well this year, Bill. I'm so happy, and I was watching the news last night. They said we had 30 days above 90 so far this year, which was awesome because we have not had that in the last 2 years. It's been colder than normal for the last 2 years. The Bermuda has suffered from not having this many 90-degree days. It's loving life. We had that cold snap, and the winter kill killed a lot of grass in the area, golf courses, athletic fields all over the region, on up into Virginia and out toward Raleigh and the coastline. We had this killer frost, and we were able to get these fields back. Page High School just celebrated just started practice. They had a midnight practice on that blue moon.
I saw that. My wife and I were talking about that, and we looked at each other and said, really, at 12:01, because of the rules of high school athletics, they couldn't do any day sooner. But the first day they could, after midnight at 12:01, they were doing practice scrimmages and what have you.
Yeah, they did it at midnight. It was pretty cool, under a blue moon. So, pretty cool, and all their fields are back 100%. Everybody's really, really pleased. We worked really, really hard to get these back.
I've noticed, you talk about how Bermuda really thrives on the 90-degree plus days.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just, as a consumer out here, I'm looking around and I don't see as much dormant summer grass as I've seen in previous years. Our grass is looking pretty good here, from what I can tell. Is that your view as well?
It sure is. There are places where it's just gone completely dormant. In a couple places they're not getting any rain. It's weird pockets. I mean, I was looking at my rain gauge the other night. I had 4 inches of rain.
That's the whole secret for this.
Last week, wow. That was awesome. And then I go to just a mile up the road to one of my customers, and she goes, man, I haven't even had a half inch. It's missing me up here in Summerfield. And you could see it in the lawn. The lawn's gone dormant, So.
But the overall effect I'm sensing is that there's more green than dormancy that at least in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
it's been a wonderful
year.
It really has been one of the best growing seasons we've seen in quite some time. I'm really pleased.
To keep that whole green thing going, you talked about the varieties of seed, and how do you choose the right seed? For the microclimates you talk about within even a simple yard. Front yard gets more sunlight than the backyard, or the runoff gets more water on the side than it does on the other side. All of these combination of factors and the unique atmospherics we have in North Carolina. How do you know which seed to put out there?
Well, primarily we're growing the cool season grass tall fescue. And those different varieties are very similar. We use the turf type tall fescue. And in the Barronbrook's very good with the dwarves and semi-dwarves. These are these beautiful little tall fescue plants Not like the Kentucky 31. I would warn anybody to stay away from that.
Why?
That's a forage type, developed for the forage industry, the K31. Really wide blade. I mean, we're talking about almost, a centimeter wide sometimes. That's how big these are as compared to the really bunch type, beautiful little dwarves. And we love using the dwarves. They stay deep, dark green colors, what they exhibit as a natural trait. And then they are really tight and can be beautiful, and
you
really
have
nice and lush.
Less room for the weed if you've got that woven with the grass.
Keep that up at that 4-inch,
yep.
And you're gold. Once you get that established, it's really, really nice and thick. And K31, of course, you'll see that out in fields, and we'll even try to kill that off. I've got a lawn down in Lexington that was seeded. I guess some drain lines were applied. This was a beautiful lawn, turf-type tall fescue, that they put some drain lines in, and they seeded it with K31. And now I've got to kill it. Got to kill the K31
After
out of this.
all of that work, you got to go back
It's
before
crazy.
zero.
It's well-maintained K31, but it's got to go.
All right, we're going to continue our conversation. Tommy Cowett with Growing Green. It's the Love Your Lawn Hour, and if you would like to hear from the expert, 896-1980.
Call now. The number is 896-1980. AM 980 The Eagle.
Good morning. We continue with the Love Your Lawn Hour, and this is brought to you by Growing Green. GrowinGreen.com is the website, GrowinGreen, Growing Green, just one G in the middle there, .com. You can also call 1-866-LAWN-HELP. And by the way, just a quick observation. In my neighborhood, I have seen 3 different vendors that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm happy to tell you, Growing Green has the lion's share of professional lawns in our neighborhood from what I've been able to glean, because I see where your truck goes. Sometimes it'll go across the street, or the other one across the street, or my house, or down the way a little bit. But there are some other trucks that are in the neighborhood that are not the Growing Green trucks. And for a second, if you would, Tommy, you don't have to mention other names, but I think it's always good to point out what is it that's unique, special, and different about Growing Green and the way you approach the business model, really, than anybody else out there.
We have the best biological program that money can buy as far as lawns go. And we treat that lawn naturally with microorganisms and other good materials in that compost tea that it allows us to work with nature. You're going to have a natural lawn. It makes us feel proud to put down this material, where a lot of other companies, it's a chemical approach. It's synthetic.
Which was pretty much the industry standard 10 years ago.
For years and years it was, but we're learning now that how important it is to work with Mother Nature and do it naturally. Mm-hmm. Because these... it's not miracle grow. It's not a miracle that you're getting this growth out of a lawn. I mean, you put down nitrogen, you're going to get growth. But that's not necessarily healthy, and we realize that. We use a highly concentrated compost tea. Don't get me wrong, we do use natural forms of nitrogen, but we're building that soil in a natural way to where we're actually building soil and working with the living microorganisms that we're actually applying. These are fungi, bacteria, protozoans, amoebas. We'll build your earthworm content. We'll build in that soil. We'll build that soil up, and you will actually have the microbes feeding the plant at that point. Mm-hmm. When we get you to that level to where these living microorganisms in the soil, the rhizospheres, working, it's almost just naturally taking care of itself.
There is a company nameplate. It's not out there anymore, but there was a time there was one company actually had the word chem in their name. A lawn application
I worked
company.
for ChemLawn 25 years ago.
And
they're gone now.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
That's right.
My point here is some of these companies that may not have that word chem in their name anymore, are essentially doing the same thing,
Oh,
right?
it's the same thing.
Yeah. And if they were,
Synthetic fertilizer.
let's say let's say it's a national company. If they were to try to progress themselves to the model that GrowinGreen has already got as a business, they can't move overnight to retool and to do everything and turn that upside down. I mean, it would be cost prohibitive, I would think.
Oh, they're huge. They're nationwide, and it's a cookie cutter for everybody around the nation, and it's basically throwing down some Miracle Grow and getting growth, and you see it. And I think what's really needs to separate the the companies is customer service. That's where we are so focused on the customer.
Well, when I call your number, I talk to somebody in Colfax, North Carolina.
Yeah, you're going to talk
I'm
to
not
somebody
talking
who
to
will come straight out. I mean,
I'm not talking to somebody in Pune, India, hoping the message gets translated properly back to headquarters and then down to my local technician.
Man, our technicians get all kinds of just cards and letters from customers saying, I want to thank Kevin O'Shea for going the extra mile on this. I want to thank Zach Wood for going the extra mile on this. You see these, folks realize that, they really do care. Mm-hmm. And our guys are trained that way. And, if they don't have the answer to your question, they call me, Chuck, Mike, John, Scott, Chad, whoever else is in management to go out there and take a look. And, so we got 19 full-time employees. We're small, but we do cover the entire triad. And our athletic field division can go beyond that as well. And some of the commercial division can go beyond that. But primarily we're focused on residential. And, we're just pleased to please the customer. That's what we thrive to do.
You're right now is a critical time for you in these next coming weeks.
Yes.
Two things I want you to address. Something called a cleanup application and then a kill-off application. Talk about how those work in unison to build the lawns that everybody would like to have.
Okay, we do this every year. We get these new customers that come on board. They haven't had anything. They have a terrible lawn. It's all crabgrass, goosegrass, just garbage, lespedeza.
Almost embarrassed to call somebody like GrowinGreen.
Right.
But you got to know
it's a nasty lawn. They've been battling.
But you can deal with that.
Mow it 3 times a week. The crabgrass going nuts with these rains and stuff, and it's just killing them. And if they just had a nice, clean, fescue lawn, shoot, I didn't mow my lawn for a month and a half, and it stayed beautiful. It was just gliding along on that organic material, feeding itself.
Looking great while it's doing this.
Yes, looking great. And, man, I mowed for a month and a half, and it stayed pretty much perfect in the heat. Mowed it. Now it's just gorgeous. Had about 4 inches of rain the other night, and that lawn is looking awesome right now. Beautiful. But really, if you're, say, over 65%, what you don't want, just garbage out that lawn, it's best to either kill it off or we'll do a cleanup application with some specifically herbicides that are designed for what we're targeting here. I mean, we'll determine what your weed is. What is the weed issue here? Then we'll go after it.
See, now that pinpoint precision is what you just said is standard operating procedure. We'll find out what it is.
Yeah,
and
prescription. It's a prescription.
Then we're going to go after it.
Absolutely.
We're not going to give you, a nasal spray to take care of an ear condition.
No,
right?
No, we target the weed. And we'll go after it. That's a cleanup app. And then here we are, September 1st. It's time to start seeding. So we'll come out with the aerator, slit seeder, whatever it takes to prepare the perfect seed bed for this awesome 100% weed-free seed from Barenbrug, the water saver. And it's very drought tolerant, by the way, so you don't have to water it as much.
That's a great thing. I tell you what, we're going to have to take a short break. Our caller, if you'll hang on the line, we'll get to Will check in with us from High Point this morning. He has a question for you, Tommy, about grass seed and a little more clarification on something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Stay right there, Will, and we'll be right back with the Love Your Lawn Hour and Growing Green on AM 980 The Eagle.
Call now. The number is 896-1980. AM 980 The Eagle.
Hi there. It is AM 980, The Eagle, 946, 14 before 10 o'clock. It's the Love Your Lawn Hour. We continue with Tommy Cowett of GrowinGreen. Tommy is a registered agronomist, which means he knows all kinds of things. Knows about trees and landscaping and bushes and grasses and applications and what to do and what not to do. And it also comes not just from those days at North Carolina State, but many years literally in the field on your knees with your hands in the ground saying, what's going on here? And that's a powerful addition.
Hey, it's learning from your experience is, I have to say, has helped me a lot.
Beautiful thing. We have Will checking in with us this morning in High Point. And Will, good morning. Welcome to the Love Your Lawn Hour. How are you today?
I'm fine, Bill. I hope you and Tommy are doing well, too.
Well, Tommy's always...
Will.
Isn't it great to hear somebody with so much passion talking about loving their lawn like Tommy does? Isn't it a nice thing to hear?
Well, it really is. And you know, he's right. He shouldn't let anybody off work for the next after August, because I know how it's going to be.
Yes.
But anyway, I probably missed this maybe when I was talking to your intro man, but I wanted to get the name of a good seed, a trimix seed that he's talking about, a certified seed, and also wanted to find out where you can buy it. If he could just give me he doesn't have to tell me exactly, but maybe he could give me some directions.
1-866 Lawn Help. Call us. We do sell the Barrenbrook seed.
And you don't have to be a client.
No.
On the service, you can actually buy it directly from GrowinGreen.
Directly from us. We do sell that seed. We buy it by the truckload, so we'll have plenty of it in stock. You might even save money over the big box price. Usually, we do sell it for less than you can buy it at, grass seed on the open market at, the big box or wherever you might be buying it. But yeah.
Is that a trimix seed?
Yes, it is. It's a three-way blend. And
explain that, if you would, trimix.
It's three-way. There's three varieties, and the reasoning behind doing a three-way blend, you could find 4 and 5-way blends, is you select the different varieties for their strength. And say, our bag of seed is going to have 3 varieties in it. It's a trimix. It's really called it's not a mix, it's a blend. A mix is when you have 2 different two different species in the bag, like you'll have bluegrass and fescue in a bag, or you might have perennial ryegrass and fescue. That's a mixture. A blend is when you have just the same type of species, tall fescue. So you can have 3 different varieties. One will be selected there for, say, drought resistance. One is really good for disease resistance, and one is just an overall good performer. So when you have, say you lose one, a heavy disease year, and you lose those guys, you still got 2 kicking in. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the reasoning for doing a 3-way blend. Now,
what quantities is it in a 25 or 50-pound bag? What quantities is it sold in?
We'll sell it in a 50-pound bag, and when we recommend about 6 pounds per 1,000, 5-6 pounds per 1,000, you can do about 10,000 square feet with a bag, overseeding. I mean, that's the recommended rate. We go out at 6. Some people go up as high as 12. You can go down as low as 3 and still achieve the same density at the end of the day. You go at 12, you're going to have spindly, weak plants at first, and some of them are going to die off naturally. They're going to thin themselves out to reach that perfect 6-pound rate or 6-pound density, where if you start out at 3, believe it or not, the plants have more room to grow and mature and become bigger and healthier, stouter plants, and you can get to that 6-pound rate density as quick as you can with the 12. If you see what I'm saying, I mean, it's really cool to see that happen.
I got a subject matter I want you all to talk about sometime in the future, is irrigation. How irrigation intermixes with the, a healthy lawn. So that's something maybe for another show sometime. But
thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Talk about that.
And we'll find time to do that. And just make sure you got the number. If you contact GrowinGreen directly, 1-866 Lawn Help.
Okay.
And they will send you
854-7999.
There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate the information, fellas.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Deliver it to you, or you can come by the shop. Oh, yeah. I mean, our trucks are all over the place. Say, hey, Mr. Smith wants to buy a bag of seed. Would you drop that off for him? You know?
Thank you.
Sure enough.
Beautiful. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Will, thank you for the phone call. It's AM 980, The Eagle, the Love Your Lawn Hour. That whole thing, it may seem like a standard operating procedure for you, and it is.
Mm-hmm.
But not having to go to the big box store and bust your back loading it into the back of your trunk, a 50-pound bag or 2 or 3, whatever you need.
Bring it right by your house.
And you will drop it off with
Sure.
GrowinGreen.
I mean, we're deliverers. We deliver service. We deliver, programs to the lawn. We'll bring you a bag of seed.
I think right now is such an important time for that lawn. If you're that person that has an underperforming lawn for whatever reason, this is the window that you can really catapult your lawn substantially forward and not have to kind of do a late seed and hope something shows up in the springtime. But, I mean, really do the right stuff now. So come next season, you'll see a night and day difference even in that first window.
I tell people that right now we can have you a beautiful lawn by Halloween, and you'll be telling those kids to stay off your lawn. Those trick-or-treaters. You'll be putting a sign up. I've got one I put out every Halloween. It's keep off the grass sign. It's a big wooden one I made and painted it. And
does it work?
It works. I hammer it right there next to the front walk. So when those kids come down in their costumes, it's like, stay off the lawn.
There's more candy if you keep off the grass. Right?
Yeah.
Right. That's your trick or treat. If you want a treat, you stay off the grass.
Keep off the grass. Because that's the time of year, where you're growing it in. You want a, good water regime, and you want to water that lawn. He was talking about irrigation. It's important to water for the first 2 weeks after we seed you. Very, very important, because you want to get that seed up and running. And then you're pretty much gold. You can back down on your irrigation and even go ahead and winterize it, and you'll make it through the winter just fine. And then going forward, have a great lawn for the next season.
As you were talking about the density of seed application that you're putting out, essentially allowing more room for that plant to grow.
Sure.
Rather than be in competition right next door, a few... less than a couple of microns away.
People make where they just think more is important.
But you're throwing money away if you're
throwing
doing that.
money away, and then the spindly weak plants, they have no room to grow, and they're naturally going to thin themselves out. You're going to get disease. It's going to happen. It's just going to naturally damping off is the disease, and when you have too much density there, then they're going to thin.
Well, that's a great example.
Nothing you can do about it.
A great example of how the wisdom and knowledge of the right product and the right application can really save you money.
It can. I've seen where people have dumped down, I would say, probably 25, 30 pound per 1,000 square feet seed, and it's crazy. Now, hey, there are applications for this. A lot of times in sports turf, they will go out at 1,000 pounds per acre of perennial ryegrass seed over Bermuda. And you're literally growing a chia pet. I mean, it's really going to thin. It's going to, but all they're doing is really, they want that playability. And growing it, pre-germinating the seed like Tommy Vaughn does down at the Carolina Panthers. And, to fix these areas that may have gotten worn out in the last game, and he's got to get that back and ready for the next game. He's only got a week. He might be doing some sodding. He's going to throw down some perennial ryegrass and get that up, and it's like a chia pet. Chia, where you put I think you put peanut butter and you put the little alfalfa sprouts on top of the little figurine.
Yeah, the little
water it, and then you got this
terracotta thing.
Terracotta thing. Yeah, it's going to die. You can keep it alive for a while, but your lawn is it's going to die off. I mean, there's nothing to sustain it. It's just
Well, the one thing that can sustain it is, the expertise of somebody like GrowinGreen to be there for you. Sure. And here's the thing, you can do everything right, by the book, by the rules, and you can still hit a hiccup because nature has ways of throwing curveballs. And it's nice to have somebody at GrowinGreen to call them up and say, hey, we did everything right, and I'm noticing this. You need to come out here right away. and there's a valve to relieve that pressure. Anyway, that's Growing Green. Let me give you, we're out of time, Tommy, but it's growinggreen.com, the website. Ask the expert, a terrific resource there. 1-866-Lawn Help. Yes, they will deliver very high-quality seed to your home, too.